What's going on, fellas? Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Um, okay, I think we're live. Um, okay, so a couple of things I want to talk about in this video. I did not plan on going live immediately after the game, but obviously, given the fact that we just lost at home, it's pretty insane. Um, okay, so before the game, I saw a stat about Valencia, 17th in the league, three key players missing, first win at the Bernabeu in 17 years. Um, Astonishing. When Carlo, you know, uh, I assumed we were going to set records this season with Mbappe coming to Real Madrid. I just didn't know it was going to be these kind of records. You know what I mean? How many defeats have we had this season at the Bernabeu? W Last season, we did not lose a single game at home. We had one defeat, and it was against Atleti, away from home, and then we went through that long undefeated run. But this is a team that's towards the bottom of La Liga. How is it that you're, struggling to beat a team like Valencia? Is truly unacceptable. Um, Let me quickly say though, today I am working on a tactical video for the Arsenal game that's going to be going live at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time. So I'm dropping that video with a thorough analysis of Arsenal, our clash against them. So I'm going to be spending most of my day today editing that video, making that video. That's going to go live tomorrow morning, and then podcast Monday. With an Arsenal content creator talking about the game. But Ferland Mendy looks like he's going to be missing for the Arsenal clash. Chouameni suspended for that game. Uh, Obviously, no Raul Asensio today. Could have really used him at center back. Not that Chouameni played poorly, because Chouameni did play well. But if you guys notice anything, whenever our best 11 are not starting, whenever our best 11 are not playing on the pitch, we tend to also really struggle and drop points. And that's part of the reason why Carlo Ancelotti doesn't do a lot of rotation, because when he does rotate the squad, uh, we drop points. And part of the reason for that is because there's not a structure in place. When Rodrigo comes in for Brahim Diaz, he makes that substitution. Brahim Diaz was not having the best game. Rodrigo comes in, already looks lively. Why do you not bring in another player? Why do you just bring on Rodrigo for Brahim Diaz? That's a like for like substitution. And towards the end of the game, you kind of go all in. You put all your chips in. You bring on Arda Güler. You take off Lucas Vasquez. You take off all of your defensive options to try to secure the win, but you also risk losing the game, which we lost the game. But that has been the issue this entire season. Whether it was losing at home to AC Milan, whether it's losing to Lille, whether it's losing to, you know, was it Real Sociedad that we lost to, and then we lost to Real Betis. So, and then the last two penalties that Vinicius has taken have been atrocious penalties. I'm trying to think of when's the last time Vinicius took a penalty that was actually pretty good. He cannot be the long-term penalty kick taker. Because even though the penalties that Vinicius is scoring, they're really poor penalties. Like, he's not putting them in the corner. Like, he's sending the keeper the wrong way, and he's scoring them. Like, if you guys remember the penalty he scored against Bayern Munich in the semifinal of the Champions League last season, at the Allianz, if Neuer guessed right where Vinicius put that penalty, he's saving it 100%. Killian, obviously, when he was going through that really bad streak and he missed those 2 pens, we all saw what he could do in the most high pressure moment, the World Cup final. How many people are putting the penalty in the same exact spot against the keeper who gets in like, think about Martinez. Martinez gets in everybody's head. Every striker in the world, they go against Martinez and he throws them off their game. And yet, in a World Cup final where France's all their hope was on Vinicius, he was able to sink that penalty. So to me, if Champions League, if a title is on the line like the Champions League, the Copa del Rey, I trust Mbappe over Vinicius because he's a high pressure moment player. Since he was a since Mbappe was like 8, 9 years old, the guy's been coming to Valdebebas. He's been told he's going to be one of the best players in the world since he was a little kid. Um, so he's built for those high pressure moments. And I know he went through a rough patch early on, but you still have to prioritize him over Vinicius, in my opinion. A couple of different things. There should have been a red card. The foul on Fede was straight up. It was studs up. That by the letter of the law, when somebody makes contact with one of the players' boots with the cleats up like that, they should have been down to 10 men. 100% they should have been down to 10 men. And not to mention like 10 men, but if you guys also remember the Copa del Rey, the foul on Vinicius also should have been a red card. So VAR needs to clean some of the stuff up. And yeah, we were ahead by 10 points around the winter time, December, January, not January, it was maybe end of November, December. We were up by 10 points. And not only did we lose that 10-point lead, but now Barca, if they win, they'll have a 5-point lead, if that's correct. Not to mention a significant goal advantage. Barcelona has scored 20 more goals than Real Madrid this season. The last stat that I saw, we conceded 28 goals. They conceded 29 goals, or vice versa. So we conceded one more goal than Barcelona. But the biggest difference has been they scored 20 more goals than us. And that's with Vinicius, Mbappe, and Rodrigo. I don't care what anybody says. Those three guys are superior to the Barcelona front three. No questions asked. If you're going to talk about the back line, Barcelona's back line is, on paper, they have a better back line than ours. And I have to agree with that. Not our best back line where Fede is playing right back, Asensio, Rodrigo, and Ferland Mendy. Those guys, I put them against the best. But look at who we played with today. Frank Garcia, Lucas Vasquez, Chouameni, and Rodrigo. Like, that is nowhere near some of the top elite sides in Europe. Like, that's a makeshift back line. But again, I talked about the need to be good from set pieces. If you're Arsenal watching this game and you see how poor Real Madrid is from set pieces, that should make you feel good about your chances against Real Madrid. But to be fair, the keeper doesn't attack the ball. He kind of a more experienced keeper, Thibaut Courtois, when that ball comes into the box, he's attacking it. He's trying to get rid of that ball, or at least is making it less comfortable for them to be able to head that into our goal. But it also comes down to a lack of experience. He's only 18 years old, his first start for Real Madrid for the first team. So it's hard to read into that. But regardless, with players like Chouameni in there, players like Fede, players like Rudiger, we should be doing better. What's going on? Last season, we went almost 6, 7 months into the season before we conceded our first set piece. Whereas this season, we're conceding set piece after set piece. And it's like teams just are having so much success against us from set pieces. But, to me, the other disappointing thing was seeing Fede Valverde play the full 90, visibly exhausted, seeing Jude Bellingham after playing 120 minutes, playing the full 90, visibly exhausted. This is not promising, right? Like you have to say to yourself at this point, if you don't go and travel away to Barcelona and get a win, which I don't know that we get a win away at Barca, then it's, you need to start prioritizing other trophies at this point. Um, Danny Ceballos trained with the first team over this last week. He's back. He's training with the team. I was hoping he was going to get a few minutes. He didn't even make the bench. Danny Ceballos, if he got a few minutes, maybe we see him against Arsenal, but it seems maybe he's going to be fit to play in the second leg, not in the first, which is a little disappointing. But uh, when Endrick comes in, uh, you just saw the impact that Endrick had in the just in the few minutes that he played. Why did Endrick not come on sooner? The guy's playing with a lot of confidence. He's very disruptive and he's having an impact whenever he comes and plays. Why can't we see Endrick come in and play and get more minutes? Because we can all see the impact that he's having. Arda Güler comes in with only a few minutes left. He came in, I think, the 85th minute. There's hardly anything Arda Güler could do at that point. Why not give these guys a chance? And especially the game against Real Sociedad, we scored the goal, the Chouameni goal, from a Arda Güler corner. Arda is really strong from set pieces. His delivery is excellent. And one of the corners he put into the box, Rudiger should have actually scored that. And this is before we conceded the second goal, because like it was a perfectly weighted corner, and he put it right there for Rudiger to score it. And that's why it's like these young, hungry guys, give them an opportunity. There was an interesting stat that I saw about how Carlo Ancelotti is the manager in La Liga with the most amount of substitutions after the 80th minute. And what does that indicate to you? A lot of the other managers across Spain, they're making substitutions earlier. They're seeing when problems are arising and they're, taking more decisive action. Whereas Carlo Ancelotti is waiting until the 80 plus, 85th minute, 83rd minute. Then he's bringing people in. And that's obviously not good enough, especially when you need certain profile players. Like, when we got rid of Jose Lu and he went to Saudi Arabia, think about the fact that, okay, Jose Lu played, for Stoke City. He's maybe not a Real Madrid caliber striker, but at least he's the kind of profile player that Carlo Ancelotti last season, a few times when we weren't winning games, at least he knew, okay, this profile player can have an impact and he can change things up for us. So if I bring in Jose Lu, maybe he's not as good as, Kylian Mbappe or some of the most elite strikers in Europe, but he fits the profile of the kind of player who can, draw defenders, create more space for our team. So he relied on him as a substitute to come in, but he doesn't seem to see Endrick and Arda in that same light. Like it has to be truly a desperate situation, and even when it's truly a desperate situation, he's very reluctant to pull the trigger on bringing one of those two guys in. And that's not great for your confidence. When you're a young player, what you need more than anything early on in your career, it's not about training. It's not about being surrounded by the best players. It's about getting minutes. The only way you improve is by playing minutes. Um, Lack of tactical structure. There's a significant huge issue around the tactical structure at Real Madrid, but it's also how he's managed some of these egos and personalities behind the scenes. You're seeing Arda Güler when he's putting on that Real Madrid jersey, he just doesn't look as confident as when he's playing for Turkey. When I see Arda Güler play for Turkey, I'm seeing a very confident player who, he plays with his chest out, and he looks like a really, an impressive player to me when I see him play for Turkey. But again, the way he's managed the squad this season has been truly poor. Everything that I understand, the board has pretty much said, like, if Carlo wants to keep his job, he has to win major trophies this season, and that's what it relies on. We have the Copa del Rey final at the end of April. I don't know how optimistic any of you guys are facing Barcelona in a cup final. The way we looked the last two times we played them, there would need to be a big change. But one thing is for sure is if Carlo Ancelotti does not have his strongest 11, his best 11 that he in his mind, which is the side that faced Manchester City, it's very unlikely we're going to be competitive in that game unless we have those options. You know, Endrick is a natural number nine, a striker, but he comes on. He plays more as a right forward. He kind of plays that similar role that Mbappe has been playing. Uh, but despite the fact that he was out of position, he still made an impact. He was still taking on his man. He was still creating havoc. Um, Again, why does he come on so late in the game? Brahim Diaz, uh, it happens. Wasn't having his best game. He makes a like for like switch, brings on Rodrigo, takes off Brahim Diaz. Could you have made these substitutions sooner and seen more of an impact if you did that? Do you have to wait to the 85th minute to bring on Arda Güler? Do you have to wait in the 80 plus minute to bring on Brahim to bring on Endrick? So again, at this point, we're in a position where La Liga is almost it's at a grasp. So the big game is on Tuesday, which is against Arsenal. We travel to London. Chouamini is suspended for that game. Ferland Mendy is out. Um, so we'll see. To me, one of the biggest concerns, and I'm going to talk about this in the tactical breakdown video, which is dropping tomorrow. Saka against Camavinga. Clearly, Camavinga did not play the full 90 today, and he was very reluctant to play Camavinga because it's likely he's going to be playing a left back because Ferland Mendy is not fit. But I don't know, Camavinga, the way he played against Kubo, against in the Real Sociedad game, Kubo got the best out of Camavinga in those one-on-ones. Uh, I've seen Camavinga have the Manchester City game 2 years ago, a couple of different matches, but to me, that's yeah, we were never going to win La Liga, to be fair. Uh, and part of the reason we weren't going to win La Liga or major trophies this season is when there's 70, 60, 70, 80 games a season. Uh, and you have to really rely on your squad depth and you need to have a more defined structure so you can bring players in and out. That was never going to suit Carlo Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti is not, you know, he's a guy who plays his best 11 week in, week out. And every time we've seen the season, the best 11 haven't played on the pitch at the same time. We've struggled because there's a lack of structure there and he hasn't managed those individual players well. So let's see what happens. Xabi Alonso is clearly the number one priority. I'm really excited about him coming to Real Madrid. Xabi Alonso is an innovative manager. He's played under some of the best coaches in the world. He's had exposure to what it's like to play in Spain, to play in Germany. He's been coached by Pep Guardiola. He's been coached by by Benitez. He's been coached by Carlo. He's been coached by a lot of these different managers. Played across Europe, in Spain, in Germany, in England. So he understands the technical side of the game. He understands the physical side of the game. He's an interesting profile for Real Madrid because he also understands the club and he understands the media. He understands the pressure of Real Madrid. So he's the right man for the job. But yeah, this is hopefully the end of Carlo Ancelotti at Real Madrid. The guy needs to go, and I wish he would go on his own and just say, I want to enjoy my retirement. I want to go coach Brazil. It's time for you to move on, Carlo Ancelotti. Thank you for your service, but that's it. Uh, I I had hoped we would win the league, but now no chance. I never had hope that we are going to win the league. That's why our players and coaches retire. And yeah, absolutely. Like players like Tony Cruz. Look at Tony Cruz's legacy. He left before he started depreciating. And so, people remember Tony Cruz as a legendary player, unlike Xavi and Iniesta. I'm not watching. Yeah. So Copa del Rey, Champions League, we'll see what happened. Uh, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we lose to Arsenal either. Arsenal is a tricky side. and they can sit in a deep block. Arsenal is a side with a lot of there with a lot of structure. The one thing you have to say about Mikel Arteta is he's a manager who's put a lot of structure around this club that he's managing. He's brought it a long way from where it was before. So, anyways, I got to work on this video, which is going to take me a few hours. Like I said, the video will be dropping 9 a.m. Eastern time, Arsenal, and then podcast Monday morning on the Arsenal Real Madrid clash. So stay tuned for that podcast. Um, and yeah, so that's all I got for this one. I'll just say that Vinny today, again, concerning how poor Vinny has been this season. There's only a couple of games where Vinny has really played well, but overall, Vinny this season has not looked as good as he's been over the last few seasons. And just the few touches that he's taking, the way he's slowing down the game, uh, Carlos sees it too. That's why he put Rodrigo on the left and took off Vinicius. Because at times where he's taking those extra touches and it's not working, it's actually hurting the team. Um, so again, one of the best players in the world, but even he is struggling under Carlo Ancelotti. So a lot of these players with a new coach, with new ideas, they can go back to being as good as they used to be. But as long as Carlo's here, uh, you know, it's going to be the same old, same old. So, all right, guys. Well, I got to get working on these videos. So, disappointing loss, but at least now we know we're out of our misery. We don't have to sit there to the last day hoping we're going to win La Liga. Now we know it's over. We can focus on Champions League and Copa del Rey, and hopefully this summer the board will sign some additional players, bring proper fullbacks in. We're gonna hopefully bring in Dean Huijsen. Trent is coming, and then we just need a creative ball playing central midfielder. That is so obvious. So yeah, that's all I got. Thank you for watching, guys, and try to enjoy your weekend. All right.